Hi Lisa, I won't be able to speak today, but would be really grateful if you could say something about this. It feels like presence is coming and going, rather than it being a constant that I can rest back into. Sometimes it feels so large and palpable, almost like an entity in the room. It feels like home, and it's such a relief. It's like a backdrop of love holding everything. At other times there is no sense of it at all. Is this more the beingness that you speak about rather than the empty looking? I notice a desire for this to be there all the time as life feels completely different when it is. Yeah, that is the love side. And those two have to end up coming together in union. The consciousness, the big consciousness, or yeah, the consciousness and the I am-ness. Yeah, and it can seemingly come and go, and there's little details to be aware of. So Nisargadatta Maharaj puts it like this. So the beingness, our natural state, is bliss. So Sat, Chit, Ananda. So when Sat, which is consciousness, Sat, which beingness, and Chit, which is consciousness, I think, I always get those wrong. So Sat, which is beingness, Chit and consciousness, so Sat, Chit, Ananda. So those two together make bliss. So you could also call it love. So our natural resting place is bliss. Then he says, the person then becomes blissful, but the blissfulness in the person comes and goes. And you have to be careful not to hold on to the blissfulness in the person. So blissfulness in the person comes and goes. So when you're resting in yourself, it is bliss or love, and then the blissfulness will come and go. So yeah, I definitely find my blissfulness comes and goes. Like, if I'm watching a scary film, maybe there's less bliss, and if I'm talking to someone blissed out, maybe there's more bliss, or if I'm sitting in silence, or blissfulness, as Nisargadatta would say it. But this can become a tripping point, because the person comes back and then looks for the blissfulness in the person. So your natural resting place isn't a quality. It is love, but without any quality. And when the person comes back and the seeking comes back, then it sometimes looks for a state. Or if you're resting in yourself and there is discomfort, you then believe that you've lost the blissfulness, and then the seeking starts. Yeah. And you'll notice that different teachers talk about different things, because sometimes the different teachers, they've had different awakenings, or what I would call, so some people have maybe woken up to the emptiness, some people have woken up to the fullness, and then some teachers have woken up to both. And it really doesn't matter. Whoever you resonate with, you go to. That doesn't really matter, that part. And then you also get different teachers, because then when that recognition, that shift has happened, where they've come together and there's a movement back to that, it then integrates into the body, and I see that as an endless process. So you'll get some bodies that are more in line with this, and some bodies that are less. Like I've noticed over the last 13 or 14 years, however long it is since that happened, that my body's expanded more. My human has become more and more sane and more crazy simultaneously. Yeah, you're like divine madness. The human's like divinely mad, but at the same time, like more sanity's coming. And that's only in comparison to society, really, because society's saneness is really a madness. Yeah, and that doesn't look like a thing. This is the problem. Yeah, that expansion doesn't look like a thing. Yeah. And then as the person expands more, I notice that the person becomes more blissful. So the person, as it sort of lets go of more and more of its karmas and conditions, it becomes more and more blissful. And then to me, like Ananda Mahima is like really at the extreme, where she's in samadhi and bliss nearly all the time. She's like the divine goddess. She really is. Thank you so much for your question, Kelly. And sweet picture with your little fluffy doggy. I am currently staying with my mum with her little fluffy doggy. She is so insanely cute. These little ones.